Joining me now to discuss it all is congressional reporter from Politico, Daniela Diaz, former Democratic Congresswoman from Illinois, Cheri Bustos, former Republican National Committee Chairman and MSNBC political analyst, and my play uncle, Michael Steele, and former Press Secretary to House Speaker John Boehner, and MSNBC political analyst Brendan Buck, who I would argue is a guru on all the things. We had to assemble a power panel at the top because this is just too much. Daniela, you are on the Hill every day talking to folks. What have you been hearing from members about Speaker Johnson's plan, and really what is going to happen over the next 48 hours?
Well, it's just as you said, Simone, he can only afford to lose 4 votes because of that razor-thin majority that he has. So far, of course, there are 3, as you noted, that will not support this, conservatives that we should have expected. So he can only afford to lose 1. But there are some House Democrats that could potentially get behind this line because it doesn't behind this plan, I should say, because it doesn't make any cuts to spending. And that is major here. That's what they didn't want to see, Simone. And that is why we could potentially see some chatter from some moderate Democrats who could get behind this. Of course, there's going to be a lot of criticism about the fact that there's no Ukraine aid, no Israel aid. That supplemental is a major priority for Democrats. And then also a Senate leadership aide saying that they are keeping the door open, praising Johnson for not having any sort of additional cuts to spending on this. So I think Johnson is realizing that he might need Democrats to get this across the finish line. And that's why we saw this strategy that he unveiled yesterday.
You know, today, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy said that he doesn't like the 2-tiered approach. He said it sounds gimmicky, but that he is open to hearing from House Republicans on this. And then you've got some Senate Republicans like Senator Susan Collins who've been skeptical of the proposal. Congresswoman Bustos, what are the prospects, do you think, of this bill passing the House with Democratic support? Notably, this Democratic Congress, under Hakeem Jeffries, Leader Jeffries, they've been very well banded together. They vote as a bloc. They might have, some internal conversations. But when it comes time to face outwardly, Democrats have been aligned. Is this a scenario where some Democrats might break with Democratic leadership?
Well, I think it's yet to be seen. A couple things that have happened just over the last 24, 48 hours. You've got the lead Democrat, Rosa DeLauro, on the Appropriations Committee saying she does not like this 2-pronged approach. I'm still on text chains with a lot of my friends who I served with. They're saying it's unacceptable as it is right now. I think the good part of it, though, is you've got Speaker Johnson saying that he does not want a shutdown. And I think at least that part of it's positive. But, I think we all can guess what's going to happen. But between now and Friday, which is the deadline for government to either stay open or to shut down, a lot can happen between now and then. But the long and short of it is there's going to have to be a compromise. We have obviously a Democratic-led Senate. We have the Republicans on the House side with this very, very thin majority. And so obviously there's going to have to be a willingness to work together. And Speaker Johnson is going to have to be open to that.
Brendan, what do you make of Speaker Johnson's plan here? I mean, there was much to do. I was waiting with bated breath to see what came out, and I was a little surprised by what was put forward by the speaker. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not terribly surprised. This is obviously a guy who's new to this, who's never done anything like this before.
Greener than the money we run out of.
I want to give him a little grace to kind of figure out how this goes. It is a confusing concept. It's not even complicated, the 2 stages. My question is, what are you actually trying to get out of this? I mean, I think the real answer is Republicans are very afraid of what we call an omnibus spending bill, where we package all of the spending for the entire government and do it all at once. He wants to avoid that, and he thinks if we set deadlines that are staggered, therefore maybe we will do things in 2 tranches instead of 1. I don't know that that's actually solving the problem. The problem is not our deadlines. Our problem is we have a House that refuses to do anything in a bipartisan way. To fund the government, you have to do things bipartisan. You have a Democratic president, you have a Democratic Senate. But they refuse to do that. It's what got Kevin McCarthy kicked out of office. I think it's important to kind of take a step back. This is ridiculous that we're having this much drama over a short-term spending bill. This isn't even like a this is just we're going to continue funding the government for a few weeks, and there's so much drama. This is why I don't understand why he didn't just pass a clean CR. If this is a clean funding resolution for a few months, if that's all you're trying to do, why make it more complicated? Why have Democrats not be able to vote for it? Why create all of this tension? This is basically a clean government funding resolution for a few months. with added drama for no reason. So it feels like he's overthinking things a little bit. I'm skeptical that this is actually going to work, and so we're going to have a very short amount of time, just a few days, to figure out what Plan B is. At some point, they're going to have to work together.
Mr. Chairman, along those lines, then, I mean, look, we've talked about it. Speaker Johnson is new to this, and as Brendan said, we might need to give him a little leeway. If you were the chairman right now, what would you have picked up the phone yesterday and called after seeing this? What kind of conversations should the chairwoman potentially be having with the friends on the Hill?
Well, actually none, because the RNC and the chairman, they don't do policy. So you leave this policy problem to the policymakers. However, you can afford some political insight in terms of how this is playing with the base, how it's playing more broadly with the public. And there are two different narratives here, and I think the speaker's caught between the two. He's got the Marjorie Taylor Greene narrative, who's already tweeting out, "I'm not voting for this. You know, I didn't vote against the last. I voted against the last one. I'm not voting for this." So you've got that drama. To Brendan's point about the kind of drama over something so simple. The other is the more public narrative, the broader narrative, and this is where the Democrats have a little bit of an advantage here, because at the end of the day, they're like, well, we're waiting, we're ready. What do you want us to do? Give us your play. And if he doesn't play that correctly, the onus of this is going to fall on the new speaker. And that's part of what he's trying to avoid, to get through this thing as cleanly as possible. I think Brendan's got it exactly right. You have a lot of drama around something that's very simple. It's not like you're funding for the entire year. You're not even going to fund for a quarter. You're just going to fund for a
couple months.
A couple of months just to get us through the holidays. And so there's a lot more drama here. Largely, I think, put in play because that caucus is still a little bit raucous from what it's done recently. And so I don't know if he's figured out how to navigate that cleanly yet.
Congresswoman Bustos, have you heard from any of your former colleagues about how Democrats are getting together to strategize on this issue? Yesterday, House Republicans had a call. Any calls from House Democrats?
Yeah, well, they're all talking. And look, I think you referenced Hakeem Jeffries just a little bit ago. I think he's done a remarkable job for someone who's brand new in that top leadership spot on the Democratic side. He's done a terrific job of keeping the Democrats together. But look, I think to have a clean continuing resolution is the answer here, to have that last long enough where this can get solved. And I think that is how you're going to get the Democrats on board. If you've got 3 Republicans that have already said their no on this, that gives Speaker Johnson, one vote then that he can lose on top of those. So this is either bipartisan or it is not going to happen.
Daniela, yes, or you got the last word on this. Do you think the government is going to get funded by Friday?
I've been wrong before, Simone, but I think that there's a lot of pressure right now on Speaker Johnson to keep the government open. And I think we're going to see a lot of conversations this week that show that he's going to move toward that and try to make that happen. So I'm optimistic.